Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
News that should come as a relief to tens of thousands of drivers. After months of construction, the I-96 Flex Lane project is set to reach a major milestone. This project has caused massive traffic backups for months. Good to have you with us here at 5. I'm Devin Skillian.
I'm Kimberly Gill. That construction stretches for 12 miles from I-696 all the way to Kent Lake Road. Damon Fernandez spoke to drivers who are more than ready for some relief from the constant traffic.
Well, right now we're seeing some lane closures and ramp closures back here on a portion of I-96 that's leading to some driving delays and longer commutes. It's the slowdowns and the backups. Some drivers are feeling along I-96 in Novi this week.
We're heading to Muskegon, and it's put us behind.
Ed and Donna Nutman are among drivers experiencing the delays, even a flat tire, as MDOT alerts the public about intermittent lane shutdowns and ramp closures along westbound I-96.
Frustrating, and then having a flat tire.
Those intermittent closures are reducing traffic to one lane at times between I-696 and Beck. The closures are allowing MDOT crews to complete pavement striping in designated areas along the interstate as they work to return this portion of I-96 to 3 open lanes that could help traffic flow dramatically.
I try to avoid 96 West as much as possible.
Reopening lanes has some drivers like Richard Bortle feeling optimistic for now. They've been dealing with construction along I-96 for months as MDOT works to complete the I-96 Flex route. It's a system designed to help manage congestion during rush hour and other peak times. MDOT installed Michigan's first flex route on US 23 north of Ann Arbor in 2017.
I used to work and go to school in Ann Arbor, and I love that lane.
Despite the delays and inconvenience along this stretch of interstate this week, some drivers say they're looking forward to the I-96 flex route's completion in 2024. But for now, any advice to other drivers coming through this area?
Just if you plan on being to work early, I think you should leave the house a little earlier than usual.
Well, the shifting lane and ramp closures will continue back here on the eastbound portion of I-96 later this week. So just keep that in mind, especially if you drive through this area. I'm Damon Fernandez for Local 4.
Okay, Damon, thank you. When the project is complete, it's expected to cut back on crashes and make the commute time 65 to 75% more consistent.
A man is going to spend at least 40 years in prison for setting a woman on fire.
Back in 2020, William Helmer attacked Dorothy Spinella at the Redford Coney Island near 7 Mile and Beach Daily. Investigators say he walked up, doused her with gasoline, and lit her on fire. While it's not clear why she was attacked, police say the two may have known each other. The judge says his long history of violence influenced her sentence.
After sitting through the trial, viewing the photographs, observing the psychological effect that you've had on the victim, I've come to one conclusion. You are a cold-blooded human being, and there is no justification for your actions.
Helmer had little to say in the courtroom other than thanking the judge as he was led out of the room.
Well, just in here at 5 o'clock, one American hostage has been released by Hamas as part of today's transfer. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is heading back to the Middle East to meet with Israeli and Palestinian leaders. This comes as the U.S. is pushing to extend the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas so more hostages can be freed. While more than 50 hostages are now free, there are still about 180 people still being held captive. More hostages released today, shown in this Hamas video, amid a flurry of diplomacy in the final day of the temporary truce between Israel and Hamas, seeking to extend the fragile agreement.
Its continuation, by definition, means that more hostages would be coming home, more assistance would be getting in.
Overwhelming relief for the dozens of families reunited as hostages kidnapped by Hamas are exchanged for Israeli-held Palestinian prisoners. But now potentially devastating news. The Israeli military says is assessing a Hamas claim that the youngest hostage, a 10-month-old boy, Kiefer Bibas, his brother, and their mother were all killed. Hamas blaming an Israeli airstrike without presenting any evidence. The news coming just after a rally for the family in Tel Aviv where balloons as bright as the children's hair soared to the sky. Israel's prime minister renewing his vow to destroy Hamas when hostage negotiations are done. U.S. officials urging against an Israeli assault on southern Gaza without a plan to protect civilians seeking refuge there.
The United States has urged Israel to take every possible measure to prevent civilians civilian casualties.
On Capitol Hill, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, the highest-ranking Jewish elected official, speaking against growing anti-Semitism and a haunting history of violence.
No matter how well we're doing, it can all be taken away in an instant. That's just how it is. We only have to look back a century, a few generations, to see how this can happen.
Incidents of Islamophobia are also surging. In Vermont, the FBI and ATF investigating the shooting of 3 college students of Palestinian descent as a possible hate crime. The community calling for peace. And as lawmakers on Capitol Hill debate more funding for Israel, the U.S. is sending humanitarian supplies to Gaza. The Pentagon says more shipments of medical supplies, clothing, and food will be flying out very soon. Right now, union representatives for MGM workers are watching the clock and waiting for a response from the casino.
That's because negotiations have been in full swing today, and a new proposal is on the table. We get to Will Jones following this story. Will?
Kimberly and Devon, details of that proposal submitted today have not been released to the public, but these workers know how this process goes. They know this all too well. Striking MGM workers have been on the picket line since October 17th, fighting for better wages and benefits. And since then, they have seen striking workers at Motor City Casino and Hollywood Casino at Greektown return to work after approving new 5-year contract agreements. Those strikes officially ended on November 19th. MGM workers were then added alone after voting down a tentative contract agreement that was similar to the other two. So now, for the first time, MGM and the union are back at the bargaining table, hoping to come to an agreement that union members will support. They're working with a federal mediator. This strike has not only been hard on these workers financially, also mentally and physically. They've been out here in the cold day after day. I just talked with one of these workers, and they're dressed in layers and they're prepared for it to get even colder, but they say this is a cause that they believe in. We're live downtown. Will Jones, Local 4.
All right, Will. University of Michigan President Santa Ono reiterated his support for Coach Jim Harbaugh and the school's football program. He made the remarks in a wide-ranging conversation with me today in front of the Detroit Economic Club. I asked him about the fact that suspensions meant Harbaugh missed more games than he attended this season.
Well, you know, it's true that he has been on the sideline for 6 games, but we won all 6 of those games. And I want to say it's really a credit to him. You know, the coach has talked to me about that situation and has said that he knows nothing about what happened, and I trust him. He's a man of honor. Everyone who knows him knows that. It's an ongoing investigation. We'll see what happens, but I just wanted to say just very, very clearly, and it's no secret to people, that I trust the guy. I think he is one of the great coaches out there in NFL or in NCAA. And he, the football team loves him, and his coaches love him.
Clearly, there was something untoward going on here. Have you gotten to the bottom? Do you think you understand what Connor Stallion was about and who put him up to it?
I've never met the guy. Apparently, he was in a room that I was in. I don't know him. I haven't gotten to the bottom of it because these sorts of investigations, you have to be at arm's length, and so their NCAA is actually involved in that. Sure. Yeah. So we'll let it take its course. Certainly, I take it very seriously. This is an academic institution, to be frank, and ethics and integrity are central and core to what we do. It's a cornerstone to a great university.
I then asked Ono if he was confident that Jim Harbaugh will be the head football coach next year, and he said he hopes so. Much more of my wide-ranging conversation with Santa Ono this Sunday morning on Flashpoint at 10 a.m.
Forward to that.
It was a really interesting conversation. Let's turn to the weather. We take a look at St. Clair Shore, Lake St. Clair, rather, from our Mount Clemens Skycam. Kind of hard to see anything because sunset came at the top of the hour right now. Daylight fading fast as we head toward the first day of winter. At least we did have a little bit of sun.
And that was really nice. Let's get over to Kim Adams. Temperatures, though, going to be on a bit of a roller coaster, Kim, the next few days.
That's right. Up and down and back up again. But we do have a better shot downtown facing west. Obviously, a beautiful pink sky tonight and a gorgeous sunset. Just happened a few minutes ago. It's freezing, literally, downtown at 32 degrees, 31 in Howell, low 30s in Pontiac, 34 in Adrian. Low to mid 30s across the board here in Metro Detroit, 33 in Mount Clemens and in Pontiac, 34 down in Monroe and also in Grosse Ile. Factor in the wind, and we've had wind chills throughout the day that are only in the 20s. So there is definitely a chill in the air, but it's a little warmer than yesterday by 7 degrees in Pontiac and in Ann Arbor, and 10 degrees warmer now than it was yesterday in Adrian. Tomorrow we get even warmer, so we're headed in the right direction. Temperatures get into the upper 40s. My pick of the day comes from Heartland, and it's beautiful. Isn't that pretty with the snow? That snow is not going to be there much longer as we have some rain coming in and those warmer temperatures, but we're not quite done with snow either. We'll talk about all of it in a few minutes.